How do you measure strength? I used to have a pretty sturdy idea of what strength was and how to measure it. Last September, with an inflated sense of self-confidence and fitness, I cracked open Strava and signed up to the most challenging competition I could find to prove my strength. This challenge required participants to cycle 1,000 kilometers, which had to be completed within the month of September. The prize, you ask? An embroidered badge. Needless to say, the stakes were pretty high. And so began my leaving cert year, with a pair of padded lycra shorts that were too small and a bike that was too big. Days went by and I hadn't started cycling. You see, as many as my teachers might know, I have this habit where I leave things to the very last minute and just about scrape the deadline. This challenge was no exception to this habit. Suddenly, I had 2 weeks to cycle almost 800 kilometers in my very limited free time. My friends quickly became accustomed to my incessant moaning about being tired, my stiff legs and sore bum, and my growing pile of unfinished homework in my Google Classroom. One Saturday evening, after a day of having already cycled 80 kilometers and going to grinds, I thought I would head out to Wicklow town on the bike. A round trip to Wicklow from my house was 100 kilometers and took me about 6 hours to complete. By the time I reached Wicklow, it was 10 o'clock and the sun had long gone down. As I was leaving, street lights became fewer and fewer until I was in complete darkness. So there I was, pottering along an unlit back road, unable to see where I was going or if anyone could see me. At 11:15, with 20% phone battery, I reached Coins Cross roundabout, which is a good 2-hour cycle from my house. I was faced with two choices, neither of which were very appealing. I could either cycle along the unlit N11 as cars whizzed by me at 100 kilometers an hour, or I could cycle along the windy unlit back roads of Wicklow. Both options had their cons. My debacle was that I had no lights or high vis, so no matter what I chose, drivers wouldn't be able to see me. My only real decision was whether I wanted to cycle on a dark, straight road with faster cars, or a dark, bendy road where cars wouldn't see me as they tear around another bend. I felt this was a decision that required an external party's viewpoint, so I called my friend Anya. To summarise the conversation, I was insane and shouldn't be cycling on such roads so late at night. Although I didn't want to hear it, Anya was right. I threw in the towel and begrudgingly called my sister to come pick me up from where I was. When she arrived, she laughed and said I looked like a haggard mess. And she wasn't wrong. After we disassembled the bike and threw it in the boot of her car, we drove towards Bray, where I would get out of the car and cycle 30k to finish that day's 100k. It was 20 to 1 in the morning when I finally reached the 100k mark. In the end, I finished the competition within the deadline. I'd cycled 1,001 kilometers with 20 minutes to spare. I constantly wanted to give up, but I wanted to prove myself that I could do it, that I was strong enough to push through the overpowering desire to get off my bike and not get back on. But completing the competition wasn't what gave me the strongest sense of achievement. It was having the ability to know when to ask for help. When you've bitten off more than you can chew, know that it's okay to ask someone to lend a hand. It isn't a sign of weakness to ask for help, but a sign of strength. It's when people come together to help each other that remarkable things can be achieved. As Winnie the Pooh declares, help was the bravest thing he's ever said. Thank you.